Hi, I'm Eric. Welcome to another episode of Small Yard, Big Pool Dreams, where I am taking you on my journey to build an amazingly awesome pool oasis in my tiny little yard in Southern California. So in the last episode, we talked about the guy wire and getting the guy wire moved. Once that was out of the way, then it's time to move forward with the design. So what I'm doing is jump on my computer because I want to show you documents, show you the design renders that I got from my contractor and sort of the stuff that I gave him as far as what we thought we wanted. And I say we thought we wanted because over the course of 6 months, going back and forth and looking at things and thinking through things, we changed a lot. And I'm glad we've taken our time because there's a lot of things that if we had done it right away, I think a few months later we would have been like, I wish we would have done this. We still would have been happy, but by taking our time, we were able to kind of really think through things for a while, kind of sit with it, and then realize, you know what, maybe we want this changed. So let's jump on my computer and I'll show you the different designs and the evolution of from the very first design based on what we initially said we wanted all the way through to the final design that we are actually going to have built in our backyard.
Alright, so I'm going to show you all the stuff we went through. This was the first list that we gave our pool guy, or all the contractors we met with, but the one we decided to work with ultimately. We don't know, we want to just convert the entire backyard to a tropical resort-like oasis. So these are all the things we told him we wanted. 4.5 feet of depth, all one depth, the entrance stairs on the patio side. Originally we wanted a safety edge around the pool, salt water, gas heater, cleaning system. Wanted a smooth texture. We wanted LED multiple color lighting. 2 built-in swing-out umbrellas, which really aren't part of the pool build, but we didn't know that. Equipment to be located behind the garage. Like to know the possibility of cost for swim jets, which are way too expensive, by the way. For the patio, we wanted stamped concrete or similar look. We wanted a built-in pergola with a sunshade, possibly a gas fire pit, or maybe tiki torches or something, some cool fire feature. Landscaping by the patio area, we wanted a tall, thin layer of trees to cover the neighbor's blue garage, and 1 tree and a pot plant in the back corner. We wanted like a tropical garden area in this little side area, which you'll see on the diagram. And then the back 6 feet of yard, we thought we wanted to do like a sunbathing area with fake grass and stone and maybe some lighting, and continue that behind the garage to kind of have a dog potty area behind the garage. And also along the side of the garage between the pool and the garage, we wanted that. And then we wanted we have speakers that we wanted mounted. You can kind of see that here. And we wanted to find out the cost of relocating the air conditioning unit to the roof, which we decided not to worry about because it's too expensive also. And that's about it. So we did that, and we took a bunch of pictures of our backyard, which you'll see their backyard in future videos. This is just going to be more about the diagrams and the original planning stage. So this is what I gave him. This is a sketch of our backyard, and the blue is kind of where I wanted the pool to be. And then there is this patio area at the bottom here. There is a patio, and so we wanted to have like a pergola over that. And then have on the left there have like a garden with maybe some type of water feature. We were thinking like maybe a waterfall, but we weren't sure because there's not a whole lot of room there. We have a really small yard, as you know. And then you can see in the back and then along the right hand side, we wanted like this grass with the stones in between the grass kind of a thing. And then you'll see on the right between the garage and the family room, that's where we would need a gate just for whatever you call it. I can't think of the word. Permits, not permits, but requirements, whatever that word is that I can't think of right now. And then all the purple represented where we wanted to mount speakers, so we wanted to have speaker wire run to those. So that was the diagram I gave him. And based on my diagram and also the list that I gave him, this is the sketch that he came up with, the render. So looks pretty nice. We also talked to him about doing flagstone coping, which you can kind of see there, and the stamped concrete. Garden area along the back. Didn't really do the grass and the stone the way we had originally talked about because we kind of realized that might be too expensive. So just did the stamped concrete on the side of the pool and then the garden area all the way around the back. You can see we originally wanted a pergola, but he did it with a gazebo. You can see the safety ledge that we originally wanted all the way around the edge of the pool. We thought in case the dog fell in the pool, he'd have a way to get out. You can really see it here if I blow this up especially. The design and the layout has a Baja bench up the north side, then that safety ledge all the way around. The garden area around the back. And then this is just a couple of night shots of the same pool. Loved the way it looked. But a couple of things that I wanted that it didn't have once I was looking at it. If we go back to that overhead view, you kind of see at the bottom right there is a big area there that's just kind of patio, and I wanted the pool to extend into that area because it's hard to tell just looking at the sketch how big or small this is, but it is a very small area. So we want to maximize the space of the pool. So I wrote him back and told him I wanted it to extend into that. And then also along the back here, instead of having a garden over there, because the patio by the stairs, by the entryway, was going to be covered, I wanted the back side to be more of an open, like a sun deck to lay out in the sun and stuff like that. So I think this next thing is what I sent him. Yeah, so this is me. I would take what he sent me and then I would take it into Photoshop and doctor it. So you can see I kind of doctored it on the back. I said, hey, let's make this deck on the back, and then in the bottom right you'll see, I was like, okay, let's bring this out around and open it up more, make the pool a little wider. It doesn't have to be a perfect oval to me. I want it to be more freeform anyway and look like a swim hole you might run into in Hawaii in the mountains or something. So I sent him that, and I also sent him a revised sketch to kind of show okay, I want it to come out further on the bottom right, and I want to have a deck in the back, and also some dimensions of about what that deck should be like. Mended those a little bit later on, but at this point this is what we wanted. So after we sent him that, this is what we got back. So I can say pretty much mimicked what I had sent him. There you go. Now you have the Baja bench right along the back and a little bit more of a deck in the back, and you have it coming out around more on the bottom right hand side, so just opening it up, making it a little bit of a bigger pool. So that was that, and I think it stayed at that. We started that process in June, end of June, July, and we went back and forth with all that through about August. After that, we took a long pause because we had to work on getting that stupid guy wire moved, which if you watch the guy wire video, you know that story. And that took a long time, long time. And we needed to get our finances together to be ready for a pool. It's kind of good because that gave us several months away from the diagram, away from the sketch, to sort of really think about options and what we wanted. And so when we came back to him in January and said, okay, we're ready to move forward, we had come up with some different ideas. So here's the list, some things we changed. No safety ledge. So we realized we wanted to not do a safety ledge around the pool because it kind of detracts from the pool a little bit, and we figure most pools don't have that, and you just have to, when you have a pool with a dog, you just have to spend some time teaching your dog where to go to get out of the pool. So when I decided not to have that, we decided to have a longer Baja bench around the northwest corner of the pool, and then a smaller Baja bench in the southeast corner. Just gave him some ideas of the kind of, we might, instead of doing just the plaster that we might want to do the Pebble Tech or Pebble Fina, just depending on the price. Um, we decided we wanted to do pavers instead of the stamped concrete because, you know, concrete does eventually crack, especially when you live in earthquake country. Pavers are easy to replace, they don't crack when the ground moves. So we decided that we'd like that better. And then we changed our mind about on the left-hand side of the pool, which is the side of the neighbor's garage, that we wanted to do a raised pool wall with a garden, a raised garden, and then have a weeping wall water feature. Originally, and I don't think I showed you guys this, but originally I had wanted to do lamineer jets, which are the jets that have a perfect cylindrical water thing, and they're really beautiful, and you can shoot lights through that entire jet. But those are really, really expensive, and also I couldn't figure out a great place to put them because it is such a small area. So we decided to do this weeping wall and around the back. Then we decided that at the back, instead of having those 3 trees, we'd just have 2 trees, one on each side, to give us more of a solid deck. We wanted a really solid deck, larger deck. And you can see I say here, no laminaire jets. And then that's really about it. So I created this new sketch to show exactly what we wanted. You can see I changed the dimensions a little bit of the sidewalks because this is mostly my spouse wanted a little bit extra room for walking. So these are the dimensions to the coping. So with the coping, I guess that's an extra foot in addition, but about 5 feet between the pool and the garage, then about 4.5 feet between the corner of the house and the pool. And then in the back, we have to do more because SoCal Edison does have an easement along our back property, which really sucks, but that's just life. You deal with it. So, and plus, you know, it's good. It gives us a nice large sun deck in the back. And then the 2 to 2.5 feet high water feature wall on the left there. And then have the tree in the corner. So I sent him that in January. Also, just so you get an idea, this is how I did. I would go online and look for stuff. It's amazing how much stuff you can find online. Once I figured out that one thing to call that water feature is a weeping wall, then I found some pictures. This was almost exactly, I mean, it's totally different layout, but this wall, I was like, oh, that's exactly what we want. Except theirs doesn't have the weeping wall feature, but as far as the garden goes, and there's another picture of that, and that was just a picture of a wall in our neighborhood to give another example. This is an actual weeping wall, much taller than ours is going to be, but kind of to give them the idea, just water just spills over the side of it, nothing fancy. It's another picture I found that shows it, and another picture, although the water's coming out of there much harder than what it will ours, but that was just an example. So I sent him all that, and then he came back with a new render. And I loved it. You can see that weeping wall there. Looks very cool. I love the way it looks. Also, you can see the pavers now. And because we're doing the weeping wall and the pavers instead of doing the whatever that rock is called for the coping, we're doing poured concrete coping. 2 trees in the back with the big deck area. You can see that. It's another view. You can see. The Baja bench back there, and then the Baja bench, if you look at the left over here, there's a little Baja bench in this little curve out right by the glass door that goes to the family room. Changed it to a pergola, which is kind of ironic because we ultimately decided we're going to use a gazebo, not a pergola. But you can see the weeping wall really good there, where the water just kind of pours out over the side and down the rock. And there's the overview. So you can kind of see how it came out. Let's go. There's some more night shot of everything. Pretty cool designs. One thing that I didn't love though was on this bottom left. In the original design, it was a little bit wider. That space to me that's on the left there is just that's dead space. No one's probably going to sit there or anything. So I wanted it a little bit wider to give us a little bit more space on the pool. So I sent that back to him. And he did make that alteration, as well as I reminded him that as much as lovely as this looks with no telephone pole back there, we're not going to be able to remove the telephone pole, so you might as well put it in the sketch and show that we have to work around it. So this is the revised sketch that he sent back. And you can see on the bottom left there, it's a little bit wider out there. And then you see the telephone pole represented there with the tree beside it. Oops, sorry, went really fast with that. There's just another view. Also, these toppers, we're not going to do the toppers along the back wall necessarily, but we are going to do them on the side wall on either side of our house so that our neighbors can't peer in. So he put that in there. And there you go. Only other thing I did change is I did send him a sketch. I'll show you the final. We realized that it'd probably be better to put that tree on the right of the telephone pole. So we're just going to shift that little area over to the right and have a tree right beside the telephone pole on the right, and then just have the area beside it to be a place you can put like a chair maybe, because over here on the sun deck we'll have layout chairs. And that's about it. This also has little stars to represent the speaker wire conduit, because they're not actually going to run the wire and install the speakers. They're just going to run the conduit for the speaker wire and then let us install the speakers ourselves. And I think that pretty much shows it all. The Baja bench we moved. That was the big change on this diagram, because we realized having a Baja bench in front of the weeping wall is kind of pointless, because you can't sit there and put your arms on anything because there's a big wall behind you. And if water's pouring out of it, you probably don't want to sit there. So the Baja bench is going to move back to where it was in the very, very original design along the back here. So anyway, that is the evolution of a pool design. At least that's the way it worked for me. And I think it's going to ultimately be awesome. You know, there's a lot of back and forth. And like I said, I think it was really good for us to have sort of the 3 to 4 month break between the original design and discussion, and to kind of set it aside and then come back to it. I think for us that worked really great. I think that helped us to make some changes and some other decisions that we wouldn't have made if we had gone ahead like right away. So something to consider when you're thinking about your own pool. Anyway, that is it for the evolution of a pool for my small yard and big pool dreams. And the next videos will probably be videos that'll start the dig. We're starting the dig pretty soon here, so we'll have some videos to kind of take you through the process as it goes.
So you can see that was quite a journey. The overall didn't change a lot, but the specifics changed a heck of a lot from that very first design all the way through to the end, and figuring out the best way to make the best use of such a small space and make it so that the pool is a decent size, have some cool features that we wanted, like we wanted a water feature, but how do you do that when you have a small space, and ultimately settling on that weeping wall, deciding to have the bigger pool deck patio area with the gazebo on the one side, which would be kind of a lounging area, but then have the smaller deck on the other side that's big enough for a couple of just like chase lounge sunbathing chairs that you can lay out in the sun if you want to do that. And then just going from the stamped concrete that we initially thought we wanted to realizing that pavers would probably be a better way to go. Just, you know, so it's a journey, and it's been fun, and it's taken a long time, but where we are now I think is the perfect design for our area, and we're very excited about it. So anyway, stay tuned to the next episode to see what happens next.